The prayer of Examen gives us an opportunity to reflect on our lives and to try to get some sense of what God might be doing in our lives. It's an unusual word, examine. We think of examinations in school and sweating over a test paper, but actually it comes from a Latin word for the little needle that you find on a pair of weighing scales. So the idea behind it is when you're weighing something up, when you're measuring something, it gives you an idea of how big or small it might be. And the prayer of Examen is about asking about the influence of God in our lives, where we're seeing that in a big way, and perhaps where we're missing that. I think it's really important for all of us. You know, Socrates is supposed to have said, the unexamined life is not worth living, and I think there's some truth to that. I used to go orienteering. And you know, it was really important. You'd get out in the middle of some field and you get the map out and the compass. It was really important not only to look in the direction that you were hoping to go, but to look back for landmarks and to get some sense of where you'd come from and where you are now. And the prayer of Examen is really just an attempt to do that. One of the most common ways in which people practice this prayer is simply at the end of every day to take a few minutes to sit and ask two questions. As I look back over today, or over the last couple of days, what has been most life-giving? Where have been the moments when I've really sensed God present and God at work? And it could be something really very spiritual, very religious. I was in church and I had a profound experience of God. Or it could be something very simple. I had a coffee and a conversation with a friend, and it was so good to see them again. It was so life-giving. And now that I look back, I think, God was present in that conversation. God drew us together and helped us to share with one another. So what has been most life-giving? And then what has been most life-denying? Where does God seem to have been absent? Where are those moments that now I look back, I think I turned away? Or I just was not conscious that God was there. There was something I could have done, something I could have said. I walked past that person on the street and I could have stopped and just shared a word with them. It doesn't mean just what was good or bad. It might be that we spend some time over coffee with a friend who's just lost a loved one. And it's a very difficult conversation, and yet somehow looking back we find that that was very life-giving. Not that they'd lost their friend, but that we were able to spend time with them and help them and comfort them. So where has God been present and where has God been absent? And people who practice this find that over a period of time, this habit of looking back makes it easier in the moment, when we're having that wonderful experience in church, or when we're sitting having that coffee with a friend. It becomes easier to recognize right now, God is here. God is present. God is with me here in the midst of everyday life. And so the life that we've examined after the event, that we said we don't want to be unexamined anymore, we've stood in the field and looked back, becomes a life that we're more conscious of as it's happening and more conscious of God's presence with us. It's a great gift to be able to grow in this kind of prayer.